So I've had my iPhone 6 Plus for a week now, and after a week of using it, I have not put it down once. In fact, I personally feel that it is the ultimate pocket PC. For those of you old enough, the term pocket PC may ring a bell. The pocket personal computer. What do we do with our PCs? Oh, before I get into that, take a look at this. This is the iOS notification screen as it is seen today. On one side you have notifications, and on the other side your today screen. You've got things like your calendar coming up, your appointments, email notifications, that sort of thing. It's really interesting to think about, isn't it? Microsoft coined the term Pocket PC because they figured that PC meant anything running Windows, and to differentiate itself obviously from the Macintosh. But PC, again, means personal computer. So what do we do with our PCs? And yes, even the Mac is a PC. Well, we check our email. We hang out with friends over video calling. We keep up to date with our social networks. We play games. And we even compose office documents. All of it can be done on your iPhone. Now, obviously there are limitations. For instance, I wouldn't want to type out my master's thesis using an on-screen keyboard. Okay, that's just too much. So that's why, they've got nice big full QWERTY keyboards that you can get that are specifically designed for iOS. And then, of course, there's limits in the processing power. You cannot play like Far Cry or BioShock. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there a port of, I don't know if it was BioShock, but I thought it was some high-end shooter kind of game that would normally be found on the Xbox or the PC. I could have sworn there was at least something like that ported over to iOS. I know a lot of the older Grand Theft Autos have been ported over to iOS. Crazy Taxi, which I remember playing in the pizza places as I grew up. I remember when Crazy Taxi was still an arcade machine, and now we can have it on our pocket computers. It's kind of silly to call them phones if you think about it, because they really are pocket computers. And unless you need the processing power to do something like load a very high-end spreadsheet, or you want to play some of the super high-end games, then I honestly think that, your phone can pretty much do it all. And in my view, my experience, iPhone is the ultimate pocket personal computer. For storage, if the inbuilt storage is not enough for you, there's plenty of cross-platform options out there for cloud storage with Google Drive, Dropbox. Those are the only two I know off the top of my head. I'm sure there are more. Or you could purchase one of these wireless media drives and download an app and utilize your content from one of these. There's even one that I found on Amazon for about 35 bucks. Excuse me. That'll read SD cards and will accept USB thumb drives. So I've got an 8 gigabyte let's see, SanDisk Cruiser, just a standard cruiser, not a micro, not an extreme, just a standard everyday cruiser, that this media drive would accept. And through a wireless connection, I could view these photos and videos and documents on my iPhone. So, and even printing. Google Cloud Print is compatible with everything. We recently got a printer that is compatible, that has been hooked up to my Google account. And I can print. There's also an app for that particular printer where I can print photos and have it, set up in a custom. So I think that for everyday computing, the iPhone 6 Plus is the ultimate go everywhere travel computer. To be honest, I think any smartphone is these days, really. But it's all down to what experience you want. And in my personal view, I just think that iOS is a far better experience overall than Android is. And I absolutely love my iPhone, and after having used it for a week, not putting it down. You probably saw my video regarding the experiment that I want to try. If you have not, please go back and watch it. It's entitled An Interesting Experiment. It's directly below this video. But it'll tell you one of the things I'm considering doing, because my Mac is up for replacement before long. And I honestly think that the iPhone would be up to the task, because I don't load in anything that would be extremely processor intensive. The kinds of games that I like are just general everyday racing games. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit has been ported over to iOS. Or I'm sorry, not Hot Pursuit. My apologies. Most Wanted, that's the one. Need for Speed Most Wanted has been ported over to iOS. I've got it for my GameCube, and it's been ported over to iOS. Crazy Taxi I've got for my GameCube and ported over to iOS. And Android too, I'm sure. But just generally speaking, I honestly think the smartphone is the everyday computer of the present generation, and certainly of future generations, and there will always be something more interesting. But I think that for everyday computing that does not require any specialist equipment or software or hardware, the iPhone is more than capable of handling pretty much everything. So I think that, Apple couldn't have done any better if they tried. It's just a wonderful experience. As a phone, it's got wonderful call quality. As a computer, it is just absolutely astounding. Even in the accessibility, even with accessibility, I was able to download a $4 app that replaced a $700 magnifier, video magnifier piece of equipment that I have. And it's just incredible. I mean, the screen access technology is even easier to use on iOS than it is on my Mac. So, kudos to Apple. And I do think that, this is definitely a keeper. What do you guys think? Thank you for watching. Comments are welcome, and have a nice day.